It's been a little over 6 months since we started this blog, so we thought it might be nice to take a step back and reflect on how things are going. As you might remember from our introductory post, the original concept behind this blog was I shoot, you write. But, in light of the current social and political environment, we opted to change shoot to snap. Originally I wasn't strictly against the idea, but I did prefer the original. For his part, Julian was ambivalent. After all, the name was still catchy and descriptive, and after years of idly considering it, we'd finally gotten it off the ground. My opinion, interestingly, has changed. After 6 months of living with, promoting, and working on this blog, I've actually come to prefer the new name. When I was at my first college, I was a psych major and I learned about something called the mere exposure effect. I haven't thought about it in years and had to resort to asking Reddit to help me remember what it was called, and they linked me to a paper by Aaron Meskin, Mark Phelan, Margaret Moore, and Matthew Kieran. Study psych sometime. You'll find pretty much every paper has a multitude of names attached to it. They write, the mere exposure effect is a psychology phenomenon whereby repeated exposure to a stimulus enhances people's attitudes towards it. The study I remember learning about, and have been having trouble finding again, was one in which participants were asked to rank paintings, then given one that they'd ranked lower. After a period of time, they were asked to re-rank them, and their ranking of the one they were given increased. The conclusion, which is supported by Meskin et al., and the rest, as well as numerous other studies, is that simply living with and being exposed to the painting made participants think more favorably upon it. You could also compare it to the popular adage, fake it till you make it, if that helps. I bet you didn't think you'd be getting a science lesson from a blog about doing things in New York, did you? I bring this up because the mere exposure effect feels like the only way I can explain my change in attitude. Pretty much every day for the past 6 months, I've encountered the name of our humble blog, whether on WordPress, on Instagram, here on YouTube, or on Facebook. And I'm happy with it. There's not a single part of me that wishes we could have used the original concept as our title. When I mentioned this to Julian, he also noted that if we hadn't gone with Snap, we would have had some trouble naming the Weekly Snap series since Weekly Shots doesn't really work. So the name's got that going for it too. Beyond just coming to like the name though, I'm really proud of what we've made here. Before we started, it had been a while since I'd done any significant amount of writing. In fact, probably not since I finished my last semester at Hunter, which was the fall 2019 semester. Now, obviously, I'm writing. Well, not all the time, but a lot anyway. To the point where I actually got a folding Bluetooth keyboard so I can work on posts on my tablet or phone when I'm away from my computer. Often, when Julian and I, with or without our other friends, get together, we don't have much of a plan in place. These days, we often try to at least work out some of what we're going to do, because you can't very well blog about walking around doing nothing, but you can blog about experiences. And I think that early in our lives, we often took the city and our time there for granted. Rather than trying to go interesting places or do interesting things, we would just meet up, go to some of our usual haunts, and in more recent years, play Pokemon Go. There's just so much more we can do and could have been doing already that we just never got around to. Or never thought about at all, even. Maybe it's because of the pandemic disrupting, everything. Maybe it's because of all the work we've been doing for the blog. Maybe it's because I'll be 30 next year. But things like this are starting to take up a little space in my mind. I don't yet feel like I'm missing out or wasting my time, but I'm becoming more aware of the fact that there's only so much time, and maybe I should be focusing a bit more of it on things that bring joy or open up new experiences. I don't want to reach a point in my life where I look back and wonder why I didn't take advantage of all the opportunities I could have. Whatever the reason, there's no doubt in my mind that the past 6 months have had an effect on me, and I think it's one for the better. People often push the idea that we should always be striving to improve ourselves in everything we do. I don't know how much I buy that. Sometimes, you should just do things because they're fun, not because they're going to do something for you. And I think my initial attitude going into this blog was that of, it's something fun to do, so why not? But I think it's come to be a lot more than that. Of course, I'm still having plenty of fun with it. But that doesn't mean it's not having a positive effect on me in other ways. It's something that I didn't expect, but it's definitely something that I want to keep carrying forward with me. I'm excited to see what the next 6 months, and hopefully even more than that, bring.